Welcome, wrestling fans, to the PW Fan, the ultimate pro wrestling podcast created by fans for the fans. And this is episode 120. I'm your host, collector, barber, musician, the frontman of Fallbright, and most importantly, a professional wrestling podcaster, Talk Wrestling, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Booker Andy.
I'm also host of Nelson Wrestling Indie fan and football lover, Jeremy.
Well, as always, I'm excited that all three of us can be together doing this episode 120, and today we will be discussing and reviewing the week's happenings in the world of professional wrestling, including The Rock acknowledges Roman Reigns, the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view review, AEW Revolution pay-per-view review, and more. Of course, please stick around to the end. I'm going to talk about our classic show of the week. For social media, all you got to do is look up at the PW Fan. We're going to pop right up. T-shirts, if you're a big fan of the show, you go to prowrestlingtees.com/the PW Fan. Bunch of different designs. Really appreciate you all doing that. We are going to make some more this year. We're a little behind on the designs, but we want to keep it fresh, keep it going. And this one really helps us out a lot. If you go to youtube.com/at the PW Fan Pod, comment, like, and most importantly, subscribe. That really helps us out, gets us on that YouTube homepage and recommended for you. Thank you all so much. Andy, I'm going to pass it over to you. We got a lot to do. We're a week behind because we got to talk about the Elimination Chamber. So I'm going to pass it over to you, and let's jump right in, man. Let's get this show going.
This is going to be a fast-paced show up until we get to Revolution, just letting you know. Like Tim said, we're going to do Elimination Chamber first because we didn't go over it last week because we weren't here. So, Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia. Tons of people. It was like over 50,000 people there. It could have been like a WrestleMania venue. And Rhea Ripley said that it was her WrestleMania. It opened up with the Women's Elimination Chamber, where the winner faces Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 40, or I wrote down Rhea Ripley, but it was supposed to be whoever faces Rhea versus Nia, the winner of that later on in the night, but as I was writing the notes, I wrote down Rhea. Anyway, if you're keeping up with wrestling, you know that she won, so we're 2 weeks ahead. No spoilers. Yeah. Becky Lynch, Naomi, Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Tiffany Stratton, and Raquel Rodriguez. Becky Lynch ended up winning, but the star of this match, I felt like, was Tiffany Stratton. For some reason, Perth was super behind her. And I'm glad, though, because you guys know I watch NXT. I've been watching her since she started. And so I'm glad people, she's been featured every week, basically, on Smackdown since she came up. And especially after Elimination Chamber, everyone seems to be behind her. So you guys got any thoughts on that match?
She did really well this match. I think she was a star of it, like you said. And the crowd was actually really behind her, too. So that was like kind of a cool moment.
Or some of you, both you guys, maybe like first time really seeing her.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I thought she did good as well. I enjoyed the match, and I had a fun time watching it. I really, I know sometimes people look to me to like have something scoffish to say, but no, I commend her efforts.
The next match was for the Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. It was Judgment Day versus Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. Personally, this was my match of the night.
I was ready for this. I was ready for this match.
Yeah, this match was awesome. I really hope I really hope they keep Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne together. I really want to see them as champions after this match. Somewhere down the line, I think they pair up really well together.
I think they deserve it too.
After that, we had the Grayson Waller effect with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, and the fallout of that was Cody challenging The Rock to a one-on-one match anytime, anywhere. But we'll get back to that because we got our answer for The Rock this week. Then we had the Men's Elimination Chamber match where the winner would face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40. It was Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, and Randy Orton. In the end, I don't know if any of us picked him to win, but it was Drew McIntyre, who I did not want to win because I did not want to see another Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre match. But as I was starting to think about it, Drew's been talking about his story and never being able to win that championship in front of fans because he won it at the WrestleMania that was during the pandemic when it started.
Andy,
It makes sense for him too.
You and I, Andy, have been saying it for years. We were like, dude, it sucks that Drew won the title when nobody was there. So it's
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he beat Lesnar in what, like 5 minutes? I don't know.
and
It was
this
a
is
short
just
match.
like
Yeah,
I know that we're a strictly wrestling pod and we don't get like into like general life stuff a lot, other than me being down 13K. But like how crazy is it that the pandemic was so long ago? It's fucking crazy, man.
I know, like thinking back to it, like remember like watching wrestling, like Tim, you and I watched it, right? Because Andy didn't really watch it during the
No,
pandemic.
it was Andy watching it, and I didn't really watch it.
Oh, right, it was Andy. Yeah, that's right. You didn't watch it.
Bro, I was watching NXT UK during the pandemic.
That's right. You were watching everything still.
Yeah.
I was.
It was a weird time to watch it.
I was the guilty party. I was going back and watching old stuff to bring me out of a weird worldly depression. But
I still remember like the first few shows during COVID, and it was like just silence, and I was just this is hard to watch, guys.
But yeah,
like,
I mean, the pandemic wrestling era had weird ideas that could only be done during the pandemic.
But
and,
not just wrestling. Like at one point during the pandemic, and I know there's other listeners that definitely feel the same. There was a point during the pandemic of just the mask era and everything we were doing where I was like, this is life now. It's never gonna end. This is what we do. And like I just was like over it and like accepted it. I was like, we wear masks to go into the store. This is what we do. Like this is normal life.
Yeah.
And then like to think that we've been back to quote unquote normal for a few years now is weird. Because at one point I never thought it would end. I thought it was forever.
Yeah, eventually we stopped counting the days.
I gave it up. I gave up at one point. Like 4 months in, I was like, okay, I think this is just how the world is now. Like, we're just going to have to, like, get used to it.
Crazy.
Just how it is.
And here we are.
Well, who knew Drew McIntyre could get us on a pandemic rant? But, Booker Andy striked again, man.
We just always talk, we're strictly wrestling, which I think, like, some of our listeners appreciate. But, like, yeah, I mean, we all go through some real stuff. And, man, that was a crazy time. That was wild.
It did suck for him, though, because coming off of, like, a good Rumble, that was the one that Edge returned to that. And we were supposed to get Goldberg versus Roman, which ended up being Braun Strowman versus Goldberg, and Braun ended up getting the title. It was weird, man. It was just weird. We had Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler. You had Rhea versus Charlotte for the first time. It was for the NXT Championship.
Yeah, and it was what I will say, Rhea, just if you look back at the time, I was like, oh yeah, Rhea's ready. She's main event, and it's like crazy because compared to that to now, and you're like, no, now she's the man. Like she's the GOAT.
The man.
The man. No pun intended.
In regards to the men's elimination chamber, though, Booker Andy striked again, saying that AJ Styles was going to pull what Logan Paul did last year while the door was open and come in and cost LA Knight the title.
Call it again.
I fucking called it.
That was a good chamber match, though. I thought
it was a good chamber match. I kind of like the women's better this year. But Logan Paul stayed. Huh?
Sorry, I was going to say the women's was better overall. Like I think chamber match and also the Rumble and everything else this year.
Yeah, that's right. We did say the women's Rumble, I think, was better. Logan Paul, though, stuck around and ended up, after getting eliminated, ended up costing Randy Orton the match, which the whole time Tim was thinking that Randy was actually hurt. Remember,
he was selling his ass.
Yeah,
he was selling his ass. But dude, there were other people that were like making memes like me the whole time thinking that Randy Orton was actually hurt. Like it wasn't just me. He got some people for sure.
And then the main event, because it's Rhea Ripley's home country, was Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax. Winner
I'm
was
not like
Rhea
most
Ripley.
girls.
That's not even her song anymore. But
I'm not like most girls.
Rhea Ripley would end up winning. So we now, out of this pay-per-view, got 2 matches. We got Becky Lynch versus Rhea at WrestleMania, and we got Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. And that wraps up Elimination Chamber. I'm going to quickly go through Raw. Raw opened up with Rhea Ripley segment coming off of Elimination Chamber. Backstage, we had a stare down with Gunther and Sami Zayn. There was an Imperium and Judgment Day.
Oh my God, Tim. We're going to have to cut this. Copyright.
Yeah, don't get us pulled, bro.
Sorry. I just needed everybody to know how fire that song was. Shit slaps.
Stop.
I'm not like most girls.
We had an Imperium and Judgment Day segment, which was really weird, and it accomplished nothing, in my opinion. After this, we had the Imperium defeating the New Day in a street fight. Drew McIntyre would call out Seth Rollins, and I believe they would end up in a little bit of a brawl. Again, this is a week ago, so I'm trying to remember. And then in the main event, Cody Rhodes defeats Grayson Waller. Paul Heyman would come out, and there would be a promo between the two, which Paul Heyman basically pleaded with Cody to take back his challenge of The Rock. Now, when it comes to Gunther and his Intercontinental Championship, it seems like everyone's going after him. Booker Andy is saying ladder match.
Ooh, I like that.
Like at WrestleMania 31.
Mm-hmm. I think they don't have any other match like that right now. Like everything else is just singles or tag team right now.
Look, I know Jey Uso wants it. Sami Zayn just did a stare down with Gunther. As we were watching Raw tonight, Shinsuke Nakamura went to Adam Pearce. He wants a piece of it. So Adam Pearce said that as we're, tonight's Raw, they're going to announce what they're doing with the Intercontinental title.
Do you think he loses it?
If you do it that way and Gunther loses it, he doesn't have to be pinned, so it protects Gunther.
Yeah. And then he can challenge for whoever wins the world title.
Book it.
I like it.
But that's where I think it's going. But we'll find out tonight, like I said, and then we'll talk about it next week. Dynamite this week. All the AEW shows were go-home shows. Hangman Adam Page spoke out in the ring. Swerve comes out. Samoa Joe comes out. There's a back and forth, really good promo between Swerve and Samoa Joe. I should mention that Hangman came out on crutches. It made it seem like he wasn't going to be able to make it.
He did say that like at the beginning, right?
Yeah. That he wasn't gonna be able to make he wasn't gonna make it to
Revolution.
There we go, the pay-per-view. Thank you.
Yeah.
He would end up attacking Swerve, though, with his crutches, and Hangman is just fine.
I like that one line that Swerve said to Joe. It's like, you're going to be doing commentary in a poncho again in the rain.
Yeah.
I liked it, but it's like, God, they always bring up WWE, always. It's like they always fall back on that. It's like they got to do something. They got to.
Well, they don't have a history though, like at all, other than WWE.
No, I know, but it's just like,
they're like,
you don't see WWE talking about Cody being an AEW and Punk's drama there. Only a little bit.
The only little thing that WWE did tonight, Michael Cole brought up Sting's retirement tonight while watching Raw.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Triple H ain't a monster. He knows things. he knows.
Well, again, Sting had WWE time.
Yeah,
might not have been a lot.
But also, WWE didn't want to share any footage for the retirement video for AEW to share it. But
Mhm.
Is that
AEW
why
gave
they
footage
skipped
for the
over all
Cody
that
stuff.
time? Yeah, they skipped over all that time for his entrance video.
Yeah, but then AEW gave footage for Cody and all
Well,
that.
Tim pointed out when they were on Instagram when they showed all those errors of Sting, they skipped over the WWE one with his picture. No red coat.
Yeah.
Right, Tim? Wasn't that you that pointed that out to me? You were like,
Yeah,
they completely
I'm
stopped
looking up at
talking
my
about.
WWE Sting figure up on the wall. He had a little bit of a different look during that time. Crow face paint with the solid soul patch going down, and then
He
trench
still has a soul
coat.
patch.
Yeah, but this one was like a solid square more than the point that he's doing now. And then this was black trench coat, red shirt underneath.
Okay. Will Ospreay. He made his first appearance as a full-time AEW star this week on Dynamite.
Bruv.
Bruv. And the Don Callis family comes out. Will Ospreay is a part of the Don Callis family for now. And it was to hype up his match with Takeshita at Revolution, which that could have been match of the night. Man, that match was
amazing.
that match was crazy. Orange Cassidy retains the international title against Nick Wayne, and in the main event of the show, the Young Bucks come out. Darby Allin attacks. The Bucks take out Darby. Ric Flair comes out, who everyone was supposed to think was working with the Bucks, and he tricks the Bucks, does some eye pokes, some terrible punches and slaps.
He did an eye poke at like 0.25 miles an hour.
Look, man, now that Sting's retired, like, we won't get Flair on TV anymore, which is fine.
Yeah, that's true.
Fine by me, dude.
Yeah.
You guys
low blow Rick.
You're being disrespectful right now. I don't want to hear this anymore.
The low blow, they were trying to protect Ric Flair so bad that he didn't want to really hit him, so he kind of just like put his hand there, and then Rick's like, "Oh."
I mean, it's hard to miss that baby arm holding an apple. All right, hard to miss it. I'm sure Nick did.
Son, I saw him one time. It was like a baby arm holding a big red apple as the tip.
So fucking gross.
I was listening to one of JR's audiobooks today, and he was talking about when he met his wife on the airplane, and then he's like, I guess Flair and Jim were riding on a private plane together for the NWA or early WCW, and one of the flight attendants, like Rick, was like flirting with her the whole time and being like, "You want me to put the robe on you, honey? Or you want me to put the robe on?" And JR in the book is like, "And I know what the robe meant." He's like, the robe meant just the robe. And I had seen Rick's private parts more than I wanted to. And then at the end, JR gives the lady, they trade business cards and they end up getting married. And then JR's second book ends
You wanted
with
him to put the robe on.
No, dude, hang on. Let me get serious for a second. So he meets his wife in the first book. She was a flight attendant. Ric Flair's flirting with her. It's a funny story. And then the second book, dude, I bawled like a baby. This 17-year-old in their car ran over his wife and killed JR's wife and killed her. Dude,
yeah, I remember that.
Dude, JR's books, that last book, Under the Black Hat, I finished it last week. It broke me. I was like in tears.
She was on a
at
moped, right?
Yeah, she was wearing a WWE ball cap and her athletic gear, which JR found important to say because she would be mad at Vince a lot because she would make fun of JR all the time on storylines, but she was proud and loved WWE and all, and it's just, dude, if anybody hasn't read Jim Ross's books, they're the best wrestling books.
He narrates it, right? In the audiobook?
Yeah, he narrates the audio, which I listen to, and then I have the print because I like to
That'd be a
own
good
them.
listen then.
but it was the best wrestling book I ever heard. Made me cry. So, in a good way that you like when you read a book that you're like, I want it to hit me. This hit you. This was a good one.
Tim has yet to read the Young Bucks book I bought him. It's all good though. It's
I already
all
read
good.
that. I already read that.
Did you?
That, bro.
Now, real quick.
Yeah, I read that shit like the second week that you gave it to me.
All right. Well, let me wrap up Dynamite real quick. JR, by the way, was at Revolution. We'll talk about it. But during the Bucks attack, Sting's music hits, and for the final time, with permission from Martha Hart, Sting comes down from the rafters to save the day. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool to see.
That's why I was like, when I texted you guys, I was like, I didn't think we would see heel Rock and also Sting from the rafters in 2024.
2024.
It's wild.
Does Paul Heyman have a book?
I think he does, yeah.
Yeah, I believe he does. I mean, he has the documentary, which is great. I've watched it a million times.
Well, speaking of Paul Heyman, I guess we should say today he is the first inductee and hopefully the headliner for the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah, excited about that. Yeah.
I mean, I would be pissed if he didn't. I feel like most fans are like, he should headline.
Yeah, he has to be the headliner. He's a huge name.
They've done things like Bobby the Brain and all that, but I mean, for this modern era, dude, Heyman, before he's even retired.
And also, people were saying, like, who's going to induct him? Because, like, they were thinking Brock, but not, like, Brock can't come back now. And I was like, well, Punk.
No.
Punk's going to induct him then.
Roman?
I don't think Roman. Because, like, Punk has, like, all that history with him. So I think it just works out that way.
I could see Roman or Punk. I kind of get what Andy's saying or what Jeremy's saying. I think
any ECW guys? RVD?
No. I think if you want somebody to induct you in the Hall of Fame, you want it to be CM Punk.
All right. I mean, I'm about it.
That means he'll be at WrestleMania.
He'll be in the city.
Yeah. He's in the proximity. Well, I can't say that word. Around us.
I don't even care if he comes out. I just want to see the entrance music live. Give me a wave. Be like, hey, I'll be back soon.
You a wave. Be like, hey, Tim.
I'm good. After that, if you just give me like the I'm here, cult of personality, I'm rehabbing, I'll be back soon, I'm happy. I'm good after that. That's all I want. I want one CM Punk appearance with the music. Just give me the goddamn music in the entrance, and I'll wait for the rest.
But with Sting coming down, that would wrap up Dynamite. Let's get into Smackdown. As Tim talked about this week, The Rock acknowledged Roman Reigns. SmackDown opened up with a Bloodline segment. Roman's out there with the rest of the Bloodline. No Rock yet. He wants to leave. Heyman says that they can't leave. He says, we can't leave yet. He's coming out. So this just adds more to my whole... Rock is making Roman feel less important in the Bloodline than he's been in these past 3 years. Did you know, by the way, Roman's been champion? I saw it today. I sent it to Tim. Longer than the Attitude Era.
That's crazy. Are you kidding me?
It was like...
That's wild.
The Attitude Era, they said, was like 1,267 days. He's been champion now, like 1,269 or something like that.
That's stupid.
Well, you're like, well, when you put it that way, that's dumb as fuck.
Yes.
So I'm actually gonna pass this over to Tim because he saw this Rock segment more recently. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, the first thing I'll notice is I was waiting. So Roman makes his entrance with his normal Bloodline crew as of late. You know, you got Solo and, you know, Wiseman and Jimmy, right? Jimmy or Jay? Sorry.
Jimmy.
So I was wondering if The Rock was going to make the entrance with them, which he didn't. So he comes out on his own. And I noticed the whole time Roman's making some like weird kind of like faces. Like he's like, I don't know about this whole thing. I don't know. I was getting weird vibes. The Rock's cutting this great promo. He starts making fun of Arizona, talking about how the town that they're in has the biggest cocaine and meth addicts in the rate in the world or whatever, which he did the finally your life has meaning now that he just lays into the whole crowd. And I thought the whole promo was great. Basically The Rock alludes to the fact that he's like, Cody, you say that you want to go one-on-one with the great one. Well, that's not how this works. You don't get to just come in here and say that you want to go one-on-one, but I'll make you this offer. It's going to be Roman Reigns and The Rock versus Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, night 1 at WrestleMania. If you win, the bloodline won't interfere and will be banned from ringside. If we do win, it's bloodline rules. And maybe Paul Heyman, he said, maybe the wise man wants to use a chair. Maybe Solo Sikoa wants and he starts naming off like.
Yeah, they got a solo chant going on, dude.
Yeah, which was weird.
Yeah, solo chant.
And then they make this offer to Cody and Seth, basically, and at the end, Roman Reigns kind of slowly turns and was like, "I'm down to do whatever, I'm down to do whatever, but you got to do one thing
Rock's
for
about
me."
to go, if you smell, and Roman stops and grabs the mic, right? And he's like, I need you to do one thing. Acknowledge me. And there's a stare down. I rewatched the clip, just that part, like a little bit before we got on. Right? And it almost is like, that's when I felt like the seeds are being planted for a Rock and Roman.
That's the real story of Rock and Roman is coming. Just wait.
So they're only in the bottom of the first of this storyline. Remember, guys.
Oh, guys, we're only in the bottom of the first right now.
So Rock says, I acknowledge you, Roman Reigns, as my tribal chief. And then he goes, if you smell, and then he hands the mic to Roman, and Roman goes, what the bloodline is cooking. And Rock does the point of the regular one, then he does the L, and then he brings the L back. And I was like, is he shooting a gun? I was like...
Is it like on purpose, I think, or is that just how his hand goes? I can't tell if it's like an instinct.
He's putting the big dog down.
I think he's calling him a loser.
Yeah. I feel like, well, also because I feel like Rock wants to turn out to be face at the end of all this, too.
Well, Tim, you want to say what you think is going to happen? You were telling me. You're like, you said, I think night 1, so-and-so wins.
All right, so
because of that...
This is, even though we normally do Booker Andy...
Tim.
This is Booker, we normally do Booker Andy. I had a Booker Tim moment. So this is... I don't know if anybody else... I don't know if anybody else is thinking the same thing, but here's what I think. You get you get The Rock and Roman winning on night 1, setting up a bloodline rules match, quote unquote, for night 2 with Cody and Roman. But The Rock helps Cody win the title in the end by betraying Roman, which, look, does it taint Cody's win a little bit for finishing the story? Yeah, sure. But everybody's getting what they want. Cody finishes the story, and then next year we'll get The Rock and Roman, and we can finally put this thing to rest. And that's where I feel like that's where it's going to go. That's
until
my
Rock
Booker
comes
Tim.
in and takes CM Punk's Mania spot again.
Okay, well, whatever.
Again.
My prediction also, because we missed last week, is that Drew, since we were talking about Drew wins, finishes his story, beats Seth Rollins for the title. And when Punk comes back, Summer of Punk, baby, wins SummerSlam or wins Money in the Bank and cashes in on SummerSlam on Drew.
I gotta be honest, I don't want to get hyped over Summer Punk again. I just want him to not be injured.
No more being excited over the Summer Punk.
I just want him to have consecutive matches without being injured.
Yeah. But this was a great segment, the Rock segment. It was like 30-some minutes. This is coming off of earlier in the day or yesterday or the day before, a 21-minute just promo to Instagram on Cody Rhodes
Yeah.
and Seth Rollins.
He said, "Fuck your story, Cody."
And then I was watching Raw, and Cody opened up Raw tonight, and he said he posted a 16-minute video, deleted it, and then did a director's cut that was 21 minutes.
Yeah. The director's cut.
Okay, so moving forward with SmackDown, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are backstage watching Elimination Chamber videos. Mainly Randy's elimination. They're laughing, and Randy gets pissed. This would set up the main event for the night, which would be Randy Orton versus Austin Theory. This was surprising. Tiffany Stratton defeats Naomi. Naomi just came back. I mean, very good. It was a really good match, I thought, between the two, but
it was very quick.
Clean.
But also, do you know why it was quick?
No.
Because The Rock and Roman went way over their time.
30-some fucking minutes.
Yeah.
This was I forgot about that. This was a big part of SmackDown. Dakota Kai ended up turning on Bayley during their tag match.
I did forget. We forgot to add one thing that's kind of important. The Rock at the end was talking about like how nobody could go above and beyond The Rock, and not even some vice president jabroni like Triple H. And then there's a Triple H chant. But then after all that, after The Rock's like, I'm the guy, I'm part of the ownership, you know where I sit on the board. Then Roman said, I just need you to do one thing, which is acknowledge me. Adds a little bit more impact.
So, speaking of the Intercontinental Championship like we were before, Shinsuke, Sami Zayn, Ricochet, JD, Chad Gable, and Bronson Reed are going to be in a gauntlet match to find out the winner to go to WrestleMania to face Gunther. So it's not
no ladder match?
No ladder match. So we'll find out next week. It's a gauntlet match. Yep, Ricochet. I say Sami Zayn's probably winning, but
yeah, I think so.
If they do a singles match,
he deserves it anyways.
So yeah, I mean, Tim, that again plants the seeds more into this. We'll see if Booker Tim's right at WrestleMania. Dude, the matches that are like coming out, man, I'm really excited because we're going. I mean, I'm already excited we're going, but like it really is ramping up to be a really good match.
Yeah, and they always have surprises too.
And we're
better if Punk and Rollins was happening, but
they're still gonna build up Seth's, Rollins World Heavyweight Championship match show. So we still got that to build up.
People are also saying, for like since Drew and Seth are facing each other, like what if Punk is the guest referee?
Can he move like that?
I mean, he can still do the other arm
with his left hand.
Yeah, it was left hand.
He's rehabbing apparently hard, so.
Or put him on commentary. Make him be the host of Mania. I don't care.
Just be there.
He was really, apparently, I don't know if anybody else saw, but he was really upset that he couldn't be at the Australia
I know.
show. He even posted about it on his Instagram that he was having like a mental health day because he was sad that he couldn't be there.
Hey guys, Andrade's having his first match back in WWE right now.
Yeah, against Apollo Crews.
For a minute, I thought you said for a minute I thought you were talking about Alberto Del Rio, and then I was like, is it in high school gym in front of 10 people?
Did you see that clip of him in the high school gym?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you beat women. Just one of those things.
Well, yeah.
Okay, we gotta move forward. No, we're talking about Del Rio. Dakota Kai turned on Bayley during their tag match, and then afterwards, Damage Control was seen backstage walking, and there's a stare down with Jade Cargill. Still don't know what she's doing with Mania or anything, but they're keeping her, in the limelight. Carlito versus Santos Escobar. Carlito would win. Legado del Fantasma would team up on him. The LW runs out, and then Rey Mysterio returns on crutches, and turns out he doesn't need him. He starts attacking with crutches. Took a page out of Hangman's book. So, I think we're either getting LWO versus Legado Fantasma at Mania, like group versus group, or we're doing Santos versus Rey one-on-one after Santos took him out.
And also, Ray had that different style mask on. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, he was wearing the Muda mask. But it wasn't like red, like it was like a black one, not like the red one he wore at Mania. LA Knight is on the hunt for AJ Styles backstage. Couldn't find him, but he's on the hunt for him.
So it was those two at Mania then?
Yeah, looks like it. Unless they somehow tie it into... Unless, you know what they should do? They should do some kind of ladder match for the United States title. Logan, Randy,
I totally forgot that.
KO,
yeah,
LA Knight, AJ. AJ recently said he wants one more WWE Championship run. Let's... Dude, give my man a title run. One more before he retires. I'm sure Tim would be
Logan Paul
hyped
doesn't
on
need
that.
to have this long.
No, Tim, you want... Well, he wants a WWE title run, though, not a United States. Like,
not a
AJ wants
US
the
title.
main title run.
Mm.
Tim, you about it?
No.
You don't want AJ to have another title run?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Logan Paul.
Point.
Sorry. No, AJ,
No,
yes.
AJ.
No.
Yeah, no, yeah. AJ, yes, absolutely. 100%.
Speaking
One
of AJ,
more.
the Good Brothers are in NXT.
I feel like AJ has one more good WWE champ or World Heavyweight Champ run.
Give me that. Give me that one more run.
I
Be
said
the
Yeah.
cross.
that way. All right.
We can't
Before
help
we-
ourselves to sing it when
Before we get
start.
copyright. That's how good of an
and
impression
doing
of the voice I
Jack
was doing.
Song didn't hurt that.
I'm not like most girls.
We're cut. That's it.
Randy Orton in the main event would defeat Austin Theory. Grayson Waller would attack. Kevin Owens gets up from commentary table to help. And then we have KO and Randy clear the ring. So this is what I'm talking about. You know, it seems like Randy and KO are still going after Logan Paul, unless they just do a triple threat. But you could add more guys in there. That wraps up SmackDown. Sorry, guys. I want to get to Revolution Collision really quick. Mark Briscoe fights off the House of Black. Dante Martin would qualify by defeating Penta, and Brian Keith, who would qualify for the scramble match at Revolution, and then Magnus from CMLL would qualify by defeating Matt Sydal on Rampage. So, Revolution. Dun, 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 dun. From the start, I will say, this pay-per-view, one of the better AEW pay-per-views I've seen in a long time. I enjoyed every match, which... See, I'm not just a WWE guys, all right? This pay-per-view was very good.
Yeah, it's so much better than the last one. The last one was like the worst one they ever did.
Yeah, what was that? Full Gear?
I think so, yeah.
This pay-per-view was really good, start to finish. The kickoff was the Bang Bang Scissor Gang defeating Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, Willie Mack, and Private Party. There was a Pac promo video. I don't know why Pac always just disappears and then it's coming back. And then Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander would defeat Julia Hart and Sky Blue. So that was the kickoff show, the 0 hour, as they say. Opening match. We had all of our fathers, Christian Cage, defeating Daniel Garcia in a TNT Championship match. Of course, it was not a clean win. The Patriarchy members would help out, including Shayna Wayne. She would get involved. But strong opener.
I'm surprised that Edge didn't show up.
That's the thing. Everyone is like, really? He didn't show up? I will say, AEW, we all have a gripe with you in Bleacher Report. Tim doesn't even know about it. Tim just has no idea what we went through.
I don't know about
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Tim wasn't watching when we did.
Oh, okay.
I watched
I
late.
wasn't
It
over
sucks.
there. Tim had a show last night.
It didn't work for like the first
It didn't work.
hour?
Everyone was like,
And I
it was
am
only
your
working on
host,
phones.
singer of Fall Break.
it was only working on people's phones. It wasn't working on the computers.
Yeah, and the fact
took
that it
me,
worked
like,
on your
3-4
phone,
matches.
Bleacher Report could be like, "Hey, we don't need to give you a refund." That's
so people
ridiculous.
are like, I just wasted fucking $50. Like, I was pissed.
Yeah.
Jeremy was pissed. Jeremy calls me. He's like, "What's that website you use?" We were like, "Oh, try this link." Like, man, it was a pain in the ass. For the first couple matches, I'm just like sitting here with my phone leaned up against my laptop.
Tony,
they need to go to HBO Max.
Tony, you're way too
awful.
You're way too rich to be doing this, bro. Come on.
Yeah, they need to make a deal with HBO
he could
Max.
Make his own. He could make his own app.
I mean, yeah, they could make their own. Yeah.
He's that rich. He could just make his own. Instead, he's doing Bleacher Report.
Yeah.
It's like,
he could be like, make it, and that's it.
He has to have a deal with them, and it has to have a time when it's up eventually.
Yeah, but it's like the TV deals with Warner Brothers, which is HBO as well. So I was like, just make that deal with this. They already have a streaming service, and they do live sports and everything.
I mean, in my mind, I was so angry. Outwardly, I was just like laughing, like, what the fuck? Like, when
I was like, you kind of like have to laugh at that point.
You called me, I was like, oh, you're having problems too? You're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, dude, everyone is. People were pissed, dude. I was reading the comments.
Like, yeah, fuck Bleacher Report.
While we're watching. All right, second match.
That's the title of this episode. It's fuck Bleacher Report.
Dude, for real though. Second match again. I mean, I'm gonna sound like a broken record. This was I liked it better than I thought I was gonna. Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson for the Continental Crown Championship. Eddie Kingston would end up winning, and Bryan Danielson did shake his hand and didn't attack him afterwards.
Yeah,
he gave his.
They even did a promo together backstage afterwards too.
Yeah,
Bryan Danielson is like amazing wrestler. Like the fact that he can do this with Eddie Kingston. Like, I mean, Eddie Kingston is not a bad wrestler, but he's just not the most mobile one ever. But I don't know. He gets great matches out of like everyone he wrestles.
He's not mobile. What are you saying? What are you saying about his body?
Eddie Kingston can't move that fast.
Why is that, Jeremy?
Jeremy,
he's been wrestling for 30 years.
Why do you think Eddie Kingston?
Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me.
Yeah, so it was for the Continental Crown Championship. Eddie Kingston defeated Bryan Danielson. This next match was originally, what was it? A Meat Madness match. It was just like 3 men, and then it turned into an all-star 8-man scramble where the winner would get a shot at the AEW World Championship. So it was Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Chris Jericho, Hook, Brian Cage, Magnus and Dante Martin. I will say about this match, it's the same thing I don't like about Fatal 4-Ways, sometimes triple threats, is that while they're trying to do spots, like 6 of the guys are just laying down waiting for like these 2 in the ring to like do what they need to do. And then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they're like on the apron. They can see them like just watching.
Yeah, they're just watching like, all right. And so now this match has 8 people in it. So like even more people are like watching at times.
Yeah.
It could have been worse, but Wardlow ended up winning. I still enjoyed the match. So Wardlow, I guess, has an AEW World Championship opportunity, which is all part of the Undisputed Kingdom's plan, right? Adam Cole said that Wardlow was going to go for the title eventually,
right,
and then give it to Adam Cole.
Right.
The next match was Roderick Strong versus Orange Cassidy for the International Championship, and we have a new champion. Roderick Strong would defeat Orange Cassidy in a good match, but the takeaway from this match is we had a return, and maybe Tim has hair heat with him now because he grew his hair out. His hair out. But Kyle O'Reilly returned. Undisputed Kingdom handed him. He's been gone. His last match was June of 2022.
Yeah, what did he injure again?
Neck injury.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
He was almost crying out there with the fans cheering for him. I'm sure he thought his career was done. But they handed him an Undisputed Kingdom shirt, and he gave it back. It's not like he brawled with anyone though, so we'll have to see what is going on with that.
Didn't make a decision yet.
But his hair is a little bit above his shoulders now. I'm not and he looks like he's been lifting and stuff and staying in good shape.
Yeah,
so.
Dude, we got it.
Kyle, right?
as a barber, this might sound funny to say, but if you got good hair, you gotta grow that out. You gotta let that ride.
Aaron Cross?
Well, what are you doing? What are you doing with if you're shaving your head and you got amazing hair? What are you even doing with your life? You know, you
Until it
gotta
gets
let
to a
that.
certain length, then Tim says you gotta cut some inches
No,
off.
there is a
done
such thing as too long. Once it gets
Is
past your
AJ's
arm,
not too long now?
no, it's too long when it's past your
Tim says if it's
armpits.
touching your nipple.
Yeah,
Oh,
if
okay.
it's touching your nips, if it's touching your nips and armpits, that's too long. You got to take about
It's too long.
You got to take about a solid 2 to 3 inches off. Just hitting the shoulder, just hitting the shoulders. You know, just nice, just some nice long hair.
It's
Just
nice.
long hair. Oh, but during this match, did you guys see when Roderick Strong dropped Orange Cassidy on the turnbuckle? Like he was doing like a, I don't know,
On his
like
back,
a backbreaker on it. Yeah, and he like, it looked bad, as in like it was still like probably okay with him, but like it looked like it hurt.
Yeah, he sold it well. He rolled like right out of the ring, right?
Yeah.
Hey Tim, do you know this wrestler? WWE just threw it up on the screen. He passed away. Paul the Butcher Bashan.
Vachon, VOVA.
CHON. Paul.
Yeah, well, I know.
Quotes the Butcher.
Well, Vachon is
the girl.
Well, no, and then also Mad Dog Vachon.
Bashan.
Paul
Maurice Vachon.
Paul Vachon. He was a member of the Vachon wrestling family. He is professed, but is Butcher Vachon. Yeah, I'm not super familiar.
The brother of Mad Dog?
Let me see. Personal life. He is the adoptive father of Luna Vachon. His brother is Maurice, who is known as
Mad Dog. Who's Mad Dog?
Yeah, he is the former father-in-law of David Gangrel Heath.
Gotcha. So yeah, WWE. That sucks. WWE. Oh, I guess we should also say while we were gone, Ole Anderson
says
passed away.
He died. I don't know about you because we're a little bit past this, but it says that he died February 29th, 2024 at the age of 86.
Yeah, so that would be after, or this is the first show after it.
Yeah.
But we should also say Ole Anderson passed away while we've been away,
which is interesting because I've just in JR's first book, Slobberknocker, there's a whole chapter on Ole Anderson that I just finished listening to today, just about his booking and his attitude. And, apparently Ole was a very old school guy, kind of a grumpy guy. And if he didn't like something, he had no problem telling you that he didn't like it. And because of that, he was respected by many, but not liked by many. It was like,
and then also one more person actually is Virgil, right?
Virgil passed away this week too.
Yeah.
Rest in
I
peace,
bet Sam
Virgil.
Roberts feels bad about the lonely Virgil stuff. I mean, I don't know if he made the page, but he would always talk about it.
Virgil, for anybody who isn't familiar, is most notably known as Ted DiBiase's assistant, the $1 Million Man. He would be his valet to the ring, hold stuff for him, hold an umbrella. He also was in WCW. His name was Vincent, and he was part of the NWO. And a little fun backstory on those gimmicks is Vince McMahon gave the name Virgil to Virgil because that's Dusty's name in real life, Dusty Rhodes' real name. And when Virgil left WCW, when Virgil left WWF and went to WCW to get him back, Dusty changed Virgil's name to Vincent. So, a little bit of a throwing it back at you type thing.
Well, DiBiase on his podcast talked about Virgil, but he ended it with saying, I just hope that Virgil's at peace regardless of anything else. I know that you... this is what his co-host was saying too, DiBiase. He said, I know that you and he didn't always see eye to eye, but we're ultimately always friends, regardless of all of it. I'm glad that he has a legacy that's forever been cemented in professional wrestling. So,
Rest in peace, Virgil.
Rest in peace, all those guys. All right, let's continue with Revolution. The Blackpool Combat Club would defeat FTR. I think Dax might have hard bladed a little too hard, a little too deep.
A little bit.
A little bit. He was bleeding all over the place. I think he was the only one that bled in the match. Surprisingly,
he was. Yeah, not Moxley.
Toni Storm would defeat Deonna Purrazzo. During her entrance, Mariah May would come out to Toni Storm's old song, "Dress Like Toni Storm." It got me at first. Before the camera got closer, I was like, "Oh, this is Toni Storm." And I was like, "Oh, no, it's not." But she really looked like her.
Yeah.
But then Timeless Toni Storm came out.
I like how they do the black and white now. Like how it doesn't even have to cut.
But this is a solid match. I'm surprised. I was just waiting for someone like Jamie Hayter to return or Britt Baker. I still don't really know what's going on with that.
Maybe they're waiting for, was it not this Wednesday? Next Wednesday is the Boston show. Big Business.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
For Mercedes.
Yeah, that is next week, right?
Yeah. Yeah, not this week, next week, yeah.
All right. Is this next match, Jeremy, match of the night? Will Ospreay versus Takeshita?
For me it is. That was like...
Dude, I forgot. During this match, Will Ospreay pulls out a phenomenal forearm and then a Styles clash on fucking Takeshita.
This guy is insane. Like, actually watching him, like, I watched maybe some of it in New Japan, but like, obviously, like, it's easier to watch him now in AEW here. He is like a crazy athlete. Like, I don't know how he does some of the things he does.
Who, Will Ospreay?
Yeah.
Yeah. But dude, when I saw Will pull out the Styles clash, I was like, oh shit. The crowd was like, oh.
Yeah.
I don't know what, like, without, like, I can't really go into detail. It's just like everything about this match was awesome.
Yeah.
My buddy Corey said
Okay.
it made him a fan of Takeshita. If he wasn't already.
He looks really good in it too.
These last three matches were great.
Yeah. There's one like sequence in the Ospreay and Takeshita match that I forget what it was, but it was like the stuff that I really like when they counter each other, like move after move. There was
a bunch of sequences that were really good. I mean,
yeah,
I enjoyed everything about this match. So
yeah,
I'll just say that from the top. Sometimes I don't like certain things, but everything about this match was really good. And when was the last time you saw a bad Will Ospreay match? Come on. Let's be honest.
I know, he's crazy. Like, yeah, there's never been like an okay Will Ospreay match, unless he's like in a tag team match. But like singles matches, like every single one I've seen, it's amazing.
Do you think Don Callis is trying to pit people against Ospreay? Like what Kyle Fletcher came out, who was part of Aussie Open.
Yeah, I think that's like the storyline they're going with, because it doesn't seem like Ospreay's going to go along with Callis.
He's not going to stick with them.
Yeah.
All right. Then we had our AEW World Championship match, Triple Threat, Samoa Joe, Hangman Adam Page, and Swerve Strickland. Dude, everyone in this match shined. Joe, for a little bit, to me, was just beating the shit out of everyone.
He was.
Especially in the beginning, dude, he was just like wrecking people.
Yeah. That was good, though, because that's like Joe should.
I thought Joe looked the best I've seen him in a while.
Yeah. And did you hear him in the post-media scrum where he was like, well, I actually took time off to heal, is what he said. That's like why he's so much better now.
Joe was like the Joe of old, man. It was sick.
Yeah. Because he was like, not a lot of wrestlers take their time off to properly heal things, and so he did, and now, like, look at him.
Who did he choke out in the end? I'm trying to remember. Was it Hangman or Swerve?
I thought it was Hangman. See, now I can't remember either.
I know people probably wanted Swerve to win, but if you're gonna Wardlow or something. Like, I guess it's their way though. Like, this whole Swerve and Hangman thing isn't over yet.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
like Swerve beat him twice and they drew.
and then after you drink another man's blood, I think it's over. Just gonna be throwing that out there. Just trying to be honest.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
being honest.
everyone was good in this.
You're
match,
gonna say this every time, and I'm gonna say that I liked it every time.
It's
Hangman,
not that
to
I
me-
didn't like it. It's just, what is there to do after that besides kill each other? There's nothing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's nothing else.
Right.
Hangman to me was wrestling as a heel this match. Did you feel that way?
I think that's more of the way they're going, as in like they're like doing a double switch.
Which he's been better on the mic and stuff, acting in that kind of heel role.
Yeah.
Um,
and everyone loves Swerve now, so it's pretty easy for him.
And then Joe's more of like, I just like respect Joe.
Joe's is like a, what do you call it, like a tweener? Like he's like,
I guess he's a fucking legend. I don't know, like
he's just himself.
Yeah. You're just like, to me, it's just like, yeah, Joe's a badass. Like, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, he beats up whoever it is there.
Well, like I said, these last 3 matches were great, and so the final match was Sting's retirement match. So yeah, if I didn't say it, Samoa Joe would end up winning, which I guess Wardlow. I don't know when he wants to cash in his opportunity, but I guess we're getting Wardlow and Samoa Joe at some point. And if Joe is going to lose, I feel like it has to be due to Undisputed Kingdom and not a clean loss.
Maybe Adam Cole being okay. I don't know.
Yeah. But, okay, so the Revolution was based around this entire final match, which was Sting's retirement match. It's a tag match. Sting and Darby Allin versus the Young Bucks for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Young Bucks come out first, and instead of, you know how they used to shoot confetti and at times they shot money? Yeah, well, now they're shooting out business cards.
That's funny, though.
And they're dressed in, like, suit vests and, like...
Yeah, I think we said it last time, like, how do they wrestle in those? It must be some kind of special...
They're still wearing, like, Jordans or whatever when they wrestle, shoes-wise.
But, like, imagine wrestling in suit pants, though. Like, those aren't, like, stretchable unless they have, like, a different fabric.
Yeah. Then Darby would come out, and then Sting's entrance was cool. It was a video that showed him going to a movie theater, and it was kind of, like, supposed to be, like, silent film, because you didn't hear anything but music and him watching. Well, as Tim said, it was a bunch of old clips, but none from WWE. But it was clips.
They didn't give them any
throughout his career. It was making me sad, man. I was like, like
I know.
Seeing black and white Sting from like WCW, and then
no.
What a good career though, dude. Like
Sting, that's a long career too.
Sting owns some of his own footage, which he used in his DVD.
Moment of Truth about, oh god, almost 20 years ago. But so there is some stuff that he's allowed to use, which I'm sure is what Tony ended up using.
Yeah. But isn't that crazy though? Like Sting, how old is he now? Like he's 60.
He's 60 something.
Yeah. But like,
got
what
a lot
of
of people into wrestling.
Yeah, like, and like what a last run.
One of those kinds. I know.
He got me into
That's like this is like one of the best last runs I think ever.
I mean, hang on. Look, for people watching, I just reached up. I got a Crow Sting chilling right there.
That's cool.
So it's
classic
like
with the leather jacket.
WCW
feels like leather.
Yeah, dude. I mean, when I was a kid, I would beg my mom for this action figure, and she finally found it. And because of that, I always keep it up there. I mean, Sting meant a lot to a lot of people, man, myself included. You
know. So for his entrance, his son or Ric Flair comes out, right? Ricky the Dragon Steamboat comes out. Sting's sons come out. One is dressed in the American gear with the blonde flat top that Sting said this after the show was off. He said this is the actual gear, or he said boots and tights that I faced Flair in the Greensboro Coliseum.
Did
That's crazy.
Did his son get the flat top haircut and bleach it blonde? Like legit?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah.
It's for his dad.
Yeah.
And then his other son came out dressed as Wolfpack Sting.
Yeah.
And then and look at my notes, look at my movie theater, sons on stage and splashes.
That's Seek and Destroy song.
Oh yeah, and then Seek and Destroy by Metallica plays, and he comes out to Seek and Destroy. They show Magnum TA in the audience, who we've talked about because he had a Dark Side of the Ring episode. Nikita Koloff and Scotty Riggs were in attendance in the front row. Apparently, Lex Luthor was backstage. Lex Luger, not Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor,
Superman.
the Superman villain from Smallville, was backstage waiting.
Lex Luger was backstage.
I think DDP was there too. I saw him.
So
Superman
this
was
match-
there. Lex Luthor, this Batman, Justice League.
So as a whole, before I get into certain stuff, was this a solid send-off for Sting, in your opinion?
I thought this was a great entrance.
I thought it was
everything
handled
about
very well. Tony Khan handled it very, very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this feels about right because Sting was never a WWE guy. It almost feels like it would be weird for him to leave in WWE. So him going out in the company that's kind of a love letter to WCW feels weirdly right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about
Especially
some
in
of
that crowd, in front of that crowd too. Like it wasn't like a small
Yeah.
crowd either.
Let's talk about some of the spots. Sting went through glass. Sting went through tables. Sting went all out. I'll give him that. But someone else went all out, and that was Darby Allin. And I never
course
want
he
to
did.
see what he did again. I never want to see him do that again. He front flipped
That was
off
crazy.
a ladder, through the chairs,
As
through glass.
through glass.
as a certain man who was canceled once said to Mick Foley, he said, pal, I just want to thank you for what you did for our company tonight, but I don't want to ever see anything like that again." And that's kind of how I felt. That's kind of how I felt about Darby. Doing
Especially
Both
seeing
reposted
Darby's
it on
back.
Instagram.
Seeing
Yeah.
Darby's back after that.
Got to the white meat.
Huh?
I said it got to the white meat. It got.
Oh.
It got. He's like after it went off the air. He's like, I'm gonna go to the hospital now.
He just like slides out of the ring.
Yeah.
And then in the post media scrum, he was like, I think it's like March 21st, whatever. He's like, I got a doctor's note to go climb Mount Everest. I'm like, Darby, he's
Stop,
crazy.
don't,
man.
dude. He's out of his mind.
So, a couple other things with this match. Sting's kids got involved in the beginning, at least. Right, they were doing some spots,
Yeah.
some splashes.
Young
At
Bucks,
one
yeah.
point, after that glass spot with Darby was on the ground for most of the ending.
Yeah.
They're trying to take out Sting. The Bucks they're double teaming him. Flair gets in the ring to cover him. Saying it's enough. I guess they take Flair out, right? Yeah, they take out Flair and then
Yeah,
they take out Ricky.
Flair.
They take out Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah.
I love this spot that they did. They go for a double super kick and they say, "We hate you and we're not sorry." Which is the Ric Flair HBK spot where he says, "I love you, I'm sorry." They did a bunch of EVP triggers. They did the TK driver. Yeah, they were doing everything to take him out. They put Sting through a table and he popped right back up at one spot.
That's like it's crazy for even a 62-year-old man to like get up after that.
Dude, I'm telling you, he crushed it. Like, if anyone's that was way better than Flair's WWE retirement match was perfect, but his last match with Andrade and Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett was not. So
he retired in that match. That's what I think. Right now. Like in the WrestleMania.
Ric Flair did. Ric Flair did.
Yeah.
I think Tim's the same way.
Well, that's why Sean didn't want to come back until he offered him like $3 gajillion to wrestle at Saudi Arabia. So he was
Yeah.
like, all right, fine, I guess I will. But like he really
And
didn't.
it was awful.
He really didn't want
Just know
to.
I'm only doing it for the money.
Just
I think
know-
everyone knew it.
Yeah.
I think everybody knew everybody in that match was just doing it for the money.
Yeah, they're like, the prince is here. We got to do it, I guess.
Kane,
So Sting and Darby end up winning the match.
Kane's the
Sting
governor of. Kane's like in charge of a whole state or mayor, or no, he's a mayor of
Or city.
a city,
Knoxville,
and he's like, yeah, I'll
Tennessee.
wrestle in Saudi Arabia. So, no problem.
Yeah.
and then Triple H tears his pec, and they're sitting in the corner at the end saying, "We're too old for this shit."
Yeah. that's
What's
right.
funny, dude, is everybody in that match looked fucking terrible, and Sean didn't look great either. But he at least was the only one kind of holding it together, you know.
You had to. After Triple H got hurt,
just goes to
Yeah.
show that dude's like 50, and he's like, look, I'm not as good as I once was, but I can still hold this shit together a little bit.
So with
that's wild.
Sting's match, he wins with a Scorpion Deathlock, taps out, I believe, Matt Jackson, and I swear, as soon as that bell rang, I thought Sting started like crying a little bit, like quick
Yeah.
second, but
Yeah.
we got a new crying fan. There's the Sting crying fan. He was in the audience. He was crying.
Yeah.
And then after it went off air, there was a little kid crying. I don't know if you caught that in that video.
Yeah.
But it was.
Did you
super
think
good.
they were going to win?
Here's the
No.
thing.
So yeah. So they were the champs. So they got to take the belt off of them.
Tony Khan said afterwards that they vacated.
Let me point this out to you. You know, just something to think about. If you're 6, 7, your perspective on how old Sting actually is, you might not fully grasp or understand. So if you're like a little kid in first grade and you think Sting's cool, and all of a sudden Sting's gone and he's not going to wrestle anymore, that might be confusing. You know, just like throwing that, you know, just thinking about it from their point of view, that might be like they might not understand why Sting has to leave.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Especially with the face paint, because if somebody's not in face paint, it's easy to put them in your mind in an age group that makes sense to you. But if you're a little kid and if all you see is the face paint, you might be very confused.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Like to us, like this Sting was even doing this match.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm like, for him that you go through that table and like just do that spot as in get up right away is insane to me. Like I think my dad is probably like around the same age as him, and there's no way that he would get up after that.
Yeah, my dad
He'd
too.
be down for a while. So, but I thought that was a great retirement last match for Sting, though.
If anybody doesn't know, Andy and I's father loves pro wrestling, except it's not the pro wrestling that we watch. What's it called, Andy?
Micro wrestling.
Micro wrestling.
He loves Andrew the Giant and the Little Show.
Little Show and
that's such a good name, the Little Show.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch.
My dad said he loved it so much.
On Discovery.
He said that he loved it so much that he already got tickets for the next time that they're coming back, because he went and saw him live.
Yep.
That's cool though. They're still into it. I know it's funny, but
he loves it, dude.
Yeah.
So before we get out of here, I'll let y'all know this Saturday is 4 weeks, 28 days till Mania from this Saturday.
Let's go. Almost there.
Oh, I should also announce that in April 21st, AEW announced a new pay-per-view, Dynasty.
Oh, right. Dynasty, right.
So AEW has now added more to the list of pay-per-views.
Tony Khan said
Seattle.
between 9 to 10. 9 to 10 pay-per-views a year they're trying to do.
Did they talk about that in the press conference? I didn't watch the press.
Yeah, because he said that was a sweet spot for them, as in so every other month basically almost, or every. You're only missing the 2 months.
It's not bad. As long as you can tell the stories, that's fine.
Yeah, which is probably better for them because they're better at big shows. Anyways, like this was a good show. This was a great show, and their weekly shows aren't that great.
So now Elimination Chamber's done. We are officially on the road. I mean, we've been on the road to WrestleMania, but this is really the last home stretch. We're in the home stretch.
There's no other pay-per-views before this
of Mania. So that's everything. I know it wasn't as long of an episode as I thought it was going to be. It's been an hour and 10 minutes. But Tim, do you have a classic show of the week, or do you want to just take us out?
I found it very fitting to do this classic show of the week. I feel like it fits the theme of the show and also the theme of the episode. So this week, my classic show of the week is the Great American Bash 1990. And the reason why I chose this show, it's because it's the night that Sting finally wins the World Heavyweight Championship against Ric Flair. So let me take you through the card. Some of these names you will know, some of these names you won't. Just more of a reason to watch and find out some wrestling history. So opening match, you got Mr. X versus David Sierra. Second match of the night, you got Buddy Landel, who, a lot of people might know that name, versus Brian Pillman Sr. The Iron Sheik versus Mike Rotundo, a.k.a. IRS, a.k.a. Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas's father. Dutch Mantel, who everybody knows from his podcast now. Dutch Mantel against Doug Furnas. You got the Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane with Jim Cornette, corny. Everyone knows it's corny. Against the Southern Boys, Steve Armstrong and Tracy Smothers, another name who people might be familiar with over the years. Then you have Big Van Vader versus Tom Sink. The Steiner Brothers against the Fabulous Freebirds, Michael Hayes, Doot, and Jimmy Garvin. Paul Orndorff, Paul Orndorff, Junkyard Dog, and Elegante, Ric Flair, I kill you. Versus the Four Horsemen, Sid Vicious, Arn Anderson, and Barry Windham, with minus Ric Flair. Lex Luger against Mark Callis with Paul E. Dangerously. And if anybody doesn't recognize that name, Mark Callis is a little man known as The Undertaker. Second to last match of the night is Doom, Ron Simmons, a.k.a. Farouk, and Butch Reed versus the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, legendary tag team. And the whole reason why we brought this show up in the first place, because it's Sting's retirement tour, and Sting just had his last match. Sting against Ric Flair for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, big gold belt. Go enjoy that show. Go enjoy Classic Pro Wrestling. We will be back next week with episode 121. Good to be back, boys. Glad all three of us could make this one. Love you both, and we will see you all next week. Enjoy.